Okay. So I start again. Welcome, everybody. My name is Fernando Zacarias. I am from Mexico, and I'm talking to you from Fairfax, Virginia, which is part of the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. What we are going to do today are two things. And let me start with my presentation, because there you will be able to see what is what. Okay. Sorry, just a moment. The meeting is being recorded. Okay. Okay. Can you see the first slide?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to put it in a larger size so that you can see much better. This is a professional development webinar, mostly for our mentees, and I am really pleased that we have other mentors with us today, because they will be able to give you their opinions and their suggestions and their comments and teach you about what is to be working in different organizations at the international level. The agenda is welcome and introduction. I'm going to make a few comments about the program and what we're going to do. And then we're going to go into a 40+ minutes question and answers and comments. And finally, I will need about 7 minutes for conclusions and our plans for follow-up webinars. These are the themes that were suggested by mentees before: career development, steps and strategies, the challenges of young professionals in finding jobs, what are employers recruiting for, what are the opportunities, and how does one apply to international organizations, humanitarian or health, and especially you are interested on what is it like to work at an international organization. And something very interesting, one of you wanted to know the impact of a career in global health. And I think that's important. And then there are a few questions about needs, how to make better decisions. They gave that as an example. And this is something that we're going to discuss about the possibilities for future webinars: scientific discussion, technical reviews, personal growth sessions, professional development clinic, quote unquote, a think tank forum. I'm really, really interested in that. And finally, an arts and philosophy salon. And I will explain that further when we discuss that. Now, a few words about mentoring and other mentoring programs. What we do is identify and select your selected people, young people, to be our mentees. And the main point of the program is to help you accelerate your professional career, accelerate. And we prompt you to be successful, because that's your obligation, to be successful. But that is not enough. So what is missing here? It's missing here to tell you why we are unique, a unique program of all the mentoring programs. And one of the main points is you, who are our mentees. And you may already know that our 385 mentees so far come from more than 100 countries. That means countries in which they were born or where they reside right now. How are we going to do it? We have developed a very easy methodology. It's basically a very organic way to mentor young people, which is the way in which it happens normally. But what I would like to emphasize is what for. You are here because we know what you are going to do in the future. You're going to be working to improve the health in our planet, the environment, and the human development. And that is the most important point, because we have 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals and neglected diseases and AIDS and many other initiatives that are going to be completed by then, or are supposed to be completed by then. So we want you to start thinking and working on that. A reminder, some of you have already seen this, and I will go very, very fast. These are the knowledge and skills that you should have to work in global health. And this I adapted from Greg Martin, and you have the link to his wonderful lectures every week, and there's a collection of everything you want to know about global health. Here's what you are. Your knowledge is what you learn in school, and now you are acquiring specific expertise. And this is something that you will need if you are going to work in an area. Maternal health, pharmaceuticals, HIV, whatever. But now you are also here developing your functional skills, what you do through working and working with a good and caring mentor. And this is what you do. The next step in your career will be more in the area of management, leadership, governance. Some of you, not all of you. And finally, very few of you will enter the area of politics to effect change, real change in your country or in the place where you are going to be working, be it an international organization, multilateral, bilateral, and etc. Okay, so this is where we are. Now, I want to show you something very interesting, which is a reminder. I like very much this man, Stefan Pastis. I have been to some of his book presentations. And this comic appears in the Washington Post every day, Pearls Before Swine. And it's very easy because this guy is called Pig. This guy is called Rat, and this is called Wise Ass. So they go to, Pig goes to the wise ass on the hill because he wants to know something. Oh, great wise ass, can you tell me how to live my life? Yes. And the answer is, don't let others tell you how to live your life. And this is important because your mentor is not going to solve the problems of your life for you. It is your life. And then, of course, the pig says to Rat, I'm more confused than ever. Okay. And always remember, it is your life, what we are talking about. And this is another fear that people may have. A reminder too. Pig tells Rat, I want to try something new, but I'm afraid I won't succeed. What happens if you don't? I'll be a failure. Aren't you already a failure? I am. Very, very happy goes and tells Goat, that guy always cheers me up. Okay? So the important point here is this is not you. This is not you. Again, you have the obligation of being successful. Think that I didn't tell you that you are going to be successful, but you have the obligation to try and be successful. And finally, I have another one, the reminder 3. Also Pig going to the wise ass and asking him, oh, great wise ass, tell me the secret of being happy. First, make a list detailing each and every one of your problems. Okay, then what? Run from them. Boom, run from them. But, remember, and I want to remind you, problem solving is what you are going to be doing the rest of your life and what you are doing now. You solve problems with your intellect, with your knowledge, etc. Okay. This I want just to show you because these are the classes of 2017 to 2021 and what the mentees and mentors opine or where they have evidence. For example, job, academic studies, and publications. Those you can test, you can evaluate objectively. And the other ones, find your pathways and other, they are more difficult to evaluate, and I will go into that very briefly. These are not match mentee and mentor. Okay, these are the opinions of the number of mentees and mentors that you see here. And just look at the column. For example, 33 of the mentees, or 33 responses, said that they had advanced. That means going from one step to the next. Initiation, in progress to almost achieve, and then achieve. And you can see that the percentage of people who advance from one step to the next is quite high, at least in the opinion of the people who answered the questionnaire. These are the mentee expectations from 2022, but you can take any year. And of course, what the mentee expects is to achieve her or his goals. Gain confidence and motivation, a sense of direction. This is really, really what some people get out of the program, even with 1 or 2 or 3 sessions. They gain clarity about who they are, define a work path, and then the transition from study to work. That is anxiety-provoking, and many times you don't know where to go. And some really professional areas, networking, interpersonal communication, career choices, help with application, guidance in writing, how to be autonomous, how to acquire knowledge, how to acquire knowledge, what is it? I can see just a moment. Nothing is by fault, okay? Okay. Organization and time management, acquire more knowledge.
Time management.
Pardon? And time management, yeah. So these are some examples of what people want to achieve. And then I wanted to present to you the total of all years. Here we have 22 and 23, and here we added knowledge, skills, and personal growth. The other ones, did I find my pathway? I'm on my way to get a job or to be accepted in a high-level program, PhD or master's. I want to do a publication. This includes a thesis, other, and then did I acquire more knowledge? Did I develop some skills? And importantly, did I grow personally as a person? And here you can see the total of years, 164 mentees and 105 mentors, and it's the same. I think that the mentee advanced in 82% of cases. So the program seems to work. Now, again, these are the themes that you have suggested. And I think that Anaili has sent that to you or put that in the chat, no?
I will do it right now. I haven't.
Okay. Anaili is going to put this in the chat so you can look at that and refer to that. Because what we are going to do now is to engage in the discussion, try to answer your questions, have some answers and further questions, comments, and suggestions. But I have noticed that most of you don't want to be seen or are having problems with your camera or with your connection. But we would like to see you, if at all possible, because at the end or before the end, we would like to take a picture of the people who are with us. Before you ask a question or make a comment or a suggestion, I ask you, because this is also a networking session, to please state your name, the country where you were born, the city and country where you are now, and then your institutional affiliation, be it a university, the Ministry of Health, whatever. So with this, I would like to stop and then open the floor for our discussion. Please refer to the questions. And here we have mentors who have extensive experience. I think we have more than 150 years of experience represented here in the mentors who have worked at the international level. So the floor is open, and I stop sharing. See, I see Dr. Adan is here, and I will ask him to try. Oh, Irma, I would ask him and Irma to try to answer or to share with you briefly their experience, because that's one of the questions. How is it like to work in an international organization or at the international level? So I will ask.
Can I make 2 points before that?
Yes.
One, in the list of requirements for public health that you had, that you learned, I think there's one crucial omission, which is health economics.
Oh yeah. Well, there were some examples, but this is really important.
My point is that one of the big problems that public health professionals experience is that they cannot talk with the people that manage their resources because they speak a different language.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's why I think it's great. I mean, nobody needs to get a PhD in economics, but they should be able to talk with economists.
Great. Learn the languages of other professions, so that you are able to speak with politicians, with economics, etc.
Because particular people who are going to have an MPH or something like that are going to be in the business of resource mobilization, whether they call it that or not. Doesn't matter. They're going to be in that business.
And here we have Eli Bertois, who is an expert in mobilization of resources too. So we will have some opinions about that and some ideas about that. Thank you, Hernan. But can you tell us a little bit about your career at the international level?
Me? Okay, well, I'm a sort of a unusual animal. I am an engineer and economist by training. I started working in the UNDP. I'm not a health. I'm not trained in health. I started working in the UNDP. I spent there about 10 years. Spent 5 years working in the private sector, and then I moved to the PAHO, to the Pan American Health Organization, which, for those of you who don't know, is the America's branch of WHO. So, I was in resource mobilization and external relations, and ended up being the head of planning for PAHO. And I retired about 10 years ago, and I do consulting. Well, in addition to that, I have some other hats. Most important one is as head of the retirees of PAHO, which is not just for the fun of it, but I don't know if you're aware, but we're in the decade of we're in the decade of healthy aging, declared by the UN, and nobody really knows what to do about that. So it's an interesting point. But my career has been basic, trying to bridge the gap between resource handlers and public health, because it's like, I don't know, you can see my hands, but it's like you're talking two different languages. So the resource people think that health people have no conscience about the difficulty of mobilizing resources. The only thing they want is money to spend. and the health people think that the resource people are, and I'm using resource and not money very carefully, uh, are a bunch of pikers that, as far as they're concerned, people can die as long as you don't spend money. And there's a little bit of truth on both, but there's also not truth on both. So I think that has been my main concern. And my people that are my mentees in general, I've been trying to guide them into the business of how you talk with people that are different training than you. Because of course we all think that what we do is the most important thing in the world. But since everybody thinks it's the most important thing in the world, it's like nothing is the most important thing in the world. So you have to find a way to communicate.
Well,
So that's one.
Dr. Hernan forgot to say that he's also a professor at the University of Chile, or
Yeah, and then
periodically.
yeah.
Goes there periodically and teaches. So he's also an academician. I would like to thank you, Hernan. I would like to ask Irma to please give us some comments about her life and her profession.
Well, thank you very much, Fernando.
Tell us where you are right now.
I'm in Paris, France. I live in Paris, but I'm originally from the United States. Most of my career has been in the international setting. My technical background is in social and behavior change. So I'm one of these people, I'm always trying to figure out why people do the things that they do, why they don't do the things that they could be doing, and trying to understand better the attitudes, the perspectives, the differences of opinion. I am retired from UNICEF. I spent a large part of my career not only working for the UN, but also for other international organizations. And currently, in addition to consulting, I'm a professor in 2 universities. I have an adjunct appointment here in France at the Paris School of International Affairs at Sciences Po. And also I have an appointment at New York University School of Global Public Health. But I'm about looking at behavior change, whether it's at the community level, whether it's within an organization, or even dealing with the political sphere, but how to get people to do things that would be beneficial to them while at the same time taking ownership for what needs to happen.
Yeah. And what has been your experience? Is it worth it to work in an international organization? What are the difficulties, and what are the good parts of working at the international level? How does it affect your personal life and your own development?
I think working internationally means one is open to different points of view, different perspectives. And you learn, I think, very quickly, there is no one right way. And for some people, that's really hard. For others, you almost become, I think, at least my experience with the UN is, I truly believe in the code of conduct, which is that you are an international civil servant. So that means that you owe your allegiance to the organization, not to a country, not to a particular thing, but looking at people in general to say, where's the commonality, and trying to find that. I think that's a struggle a lot, because there are differences of opinion, there are different ways of doing things, but what do we have in common, and how can we use it to move us all forward? I think the difficulty sometimes is, for some people, they can feel rudderless because they're moving around so much. On the one hand, they enjoy it, but it also means sometimes you don't have deep roots in a particular location. And I've seen some people that have missed that part.
And what about, I think that international work, or getting into international work, is different for women than for men, especially women when they are married and when they have, sometimes it's very difficult to choose what to do. You have to travel extensively. What do you do? I'm asking this also to Vilma, to find out what are the conflicts for women, women have 3 lives at least, and women have only one. Yeah, at the beginning of our careers and when we work. So you have three lives at the same time, and we are our profession. Smith, blacksmith. Okay? Yeah.
Hanan,
So-
I see your hand up. I'll let you respond to that first, and then I'll say something.
Yeah, well, first of
Okay.
all, I endorse what Derma said to begin with, but I'd like to add a couple of things more. I think that because I have this conversation a lot with my mentees, it is indeed a sacrifice for your family to be part of the international career. It's not so much so, well, it didn't use so much so in places like WHO, because people tended to be, or in the World Bank. World Bank, you're in Washington. I mean, you may be sent for a couple of years somewhere, but basically you're in Washington. In the UN, you're expected to spend 3 years in different countries every 3 years. So it does affect families, and it's something to keep into consideration when you decide what type of career you want to do. Because you're not going to get too far if you're not prepared to travel. And I can tell you from personal experience, I married a professional lady, and she was not very happy when we were overseas because she felt that, you know, she was accommodating to me and there was no equivalent in the other direction, so to speak.
Yeah, great.
So that's one. And I have to tell you that when I was in high school, I had a classmate who was the first person that I knew that has gone to therapy. This is at age 15. Was the son of a UN officer who was in this third country.
Yeah.
So when all of us thought that therapy is something for nuts, this guy was already going because it's really so. I think that's one point.
Family, yeah.
The other side of it is you get tremendous satisfaction in terms of when things work out. Is very, very nice, and you get a number of. I was involved in the creation of the Global Fund for against AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. The reason they called me is because they wanted somebody who could function with Asians and Africans and Americans and everything, because there had been 2 failures before that for lack of capacity of understanding that people don't think the same as you do. And I'm probably overly flexible, but these guys were overly unflexible.
Okay.
So that is something that I think is also important to keep in mind.
Thank you, Hernan. Vilma, can you say a few words, please? And then I'm going to ask Ellie to also say, hello, Vilma, how are you? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
In the United States right now, and this question is very, very interesting
Where are
because there is
Where are you now?
in the United States just for vacation,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
2 weeks vacation. And this is very interesting because usually we talk about the advantages and the benefits of having an international career, which are many benefits. And I encourage my mentees and people that I know to go to an international career. But in my case, for example, I always wanted to work at the Pan American Health Organization, work internationally. But I waited when my sons were more grown up, because I left all my family to join to the to PAHO in Washington. That was that was something that it's difficult. It was difficult for me, but in general, I think the benefits are higher. I got more benefits than this this not bright side of the international career. And I think all my family benefits of this this career because I brought to them a broad vision, more experience, and experience from another countries, another vision, another style of life,
Another language.
another
Also,
language also.
that's very important. That's very important. Okay. Yeah, that is great, Vilma. I'm going to ask Ellie to tell us a little bit about herself. Ellie is a mentor, and she's going to be working with me more closely, starting very soon, because she's an expert in the mobilization of resources. So Ellie, please, we cannot see you. Let's
Yeah,
see. Yeah, now we can.
good morning, everybody. I'm going to keep my eyes on the road because I'm driving while I'm talking to you. So not a good role model, but nonetheless, I wanted to make sure I attended this really important
Well,
webinar. So my name is.
You are not smoking
Pardon
or
me?
applying make. You are not smoking or applying makeup, so that's good. You're
Oh no.
driving. Only driving.
No. And I'm only going like 30 miles an hour. So my name is Ellie Bertfa. I am 3 weeks into a retirement. And prior to that, I was with the Institute for Public Health Innovation here in Washington, D.C. That was more of a District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. But what I want to share with folks is that during the COVID epidemic, I was responsible as part of my organization for hiring about 200 individuals. And through that process, I just want to encourage the mentees that are on this call that if you don't fill out your application completely, your application does not get seen anymore. And that's just one of the few things, in addition to if the application that you're applying through, if the computer says, or the website says, include a cover letter. If you do not include a cover letter, I have ruled you out because you do not know how to follow instructions. And I hated to do that, but when you have so many people applying for jobs, it's so important to follow the directions. And just a little tidbit from my mentee that I'm working with. He was applying for a graduate position, for his PhD, and he was looking at a couple of universities, and we were able to connect the person that was responsible for hiring graduate assistants. And I just connected with her through LinkedIn and said, what a wonderful person. I'm mentoring this young professional. He's great. Now, again, I think he got on, he got the obvious the acceptance for his merit, but I'm certain that didn't hurt me as his mentor, sending just a little note of, this is a great person. You're going to truly enjoy it. And that was a person I had not met. I had not been connected to until he told me that person's name. And so I just want all the mentees out there to know to just be fearless when it comes to, just asking people for advice, asking for help, asking for connections. I mean, you just never know. So anyway, I'll say enough.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you very much. We have two questions by Hughes and Kurtisha. But before we go into that, I would like to make a comment. Tell you a little bit about myself. I was the chief of the AIDS program, so I didn't work for a long time in countries. I used to go to countries, and I have visited all the countries in the Americas and a few in Europe, and only three outside our region. I was a consultant, and just to tell you about the difficulties, the first 2 years I was at PAHO were awful. I was about to leave, even when I had wanted to join PAHO since I was 8 years old. Finally, at age 40, I was able to join PAHO. And the thing is the adaptation. I came from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, and just the fact of getting into multinational, multicultural, with a heavy workload, because you are like crazy. Sometimes you say, "Oh, I'm running like a chicken without head. I mean, headless chicken, going from one place to the next." So it was very difficult, especially with AIDS, because it was a new disease and nobody knew anything about that. But we had to work with the countries. Let me give you an example. As a consultant, or as somebody working at PAHO, the ministers of health come to Washington twice a year. And then one of the ministers said, "Hi, Dr. Zacharias, why don't you come to my country and we're going to organize a tour, etc." Well, my wife told me, "Don't go, don't go. Stay here." I didn't remember what the reason was, but I went anyway. And we went to Oruro, La Paz. Well, I'm telling you the names. Five different cities, and it was a success. I came home, and it was, wow, I was delighted. You know, I expected to be received as a champion, and my wife was like this. And then I said, "Well, aren't you happy because I'm back and I had a wonderful trip?" And she said, "Yeah, but you missed our daughter's graduation. And the minister may be gone in 2 months or in 1 year or tomorrow, but your daughter is not going to graduate again." So this is part of the conflict that you face many times in the international area. Now, there's another question about how does one join an international organization. If you are endorsed by somebody, if you just send your application, if you in some way get into the organization. I sent you some blogs that I had written about what to do to get a job. And also I let you know that international organizations, especially from the United Nations, are difficult to get into. Okay. Some people get into that because before they're interns or before they call them junior consultants or consultants, and they start working that way. Some people who have wonderful credentials send their application. You have to follow the instructions, as Ellie said, because I learned this from Hernan. I hadn't thought about that. Human Resources Department are there. If you have 100 applications, they're there to eliminate immediately all those who didn't follow the instructions religiously, who filled out everything that was needed, gave all the credentials, diplomas, etc., everything that was asked for. So this is important. I joined PAHO because I was, it sounds a little bit conceited. I was invited, okay, to work at PAHO. But that's not the normal way to do it. You apply, people, and this is something I'm going to tell you. It's not who you know, but who knows you. And that's why I want you to be very successful. Let yourself be known. And there are many ways in which you can get yourself be known. Public publishing, by going to meetings, by asking to meet with somebody at an organization, etc., etc. If people know you, you have better chances of being admitted. If you come out of the blue, unless you have wonderful credentials, you will not be considered in the same way. Now, the organizations are also political. We say, no, we are technical, scientific, or whatever organization. No, they're political. In our country, in PAHO, if you are from countries like Venezuela or some of the Caribbean countries, if you are a woman, since everybody's trying to achieve diversity and try to be, as the world is, 50% of the world are women, 51%. So they want to have a balance. So you have better chances. If you are from the US, the UK, some of the European countries, it's more difficult. But on the other hand, you may have better credentials. I forgot to tell you something about Multipod. We have people from Oxford, from Cambridge, from the Institut Pasteur, from the Karolinska Institute, from Cayetano Heredia, Universidad de Chile, Autónoma de México, Ibadan, Masri, Egypt, etc. Very good universities. And some of our mentees come from universities that nobody knows. They have equal chances of being admitted to our program if they are good. If they are good. It's not that you come from Harvard or Johns Hopkins or Emory, etc. It's who you are, what matters. Who you are among your peers, who you are in your university or in the Ministry of Health or wherever you are working. That's what we are looking for. The best that we can find, or the best that can find us. Okay, so I don't know. Cortisha, you are from the Caribbean. So you have good chances to work in the Caribbean or work somewhere else.
Yes, thank you very much for that explanation, because that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I do agree. It's the networking. It's who knows you, and thanks for the tip about making ourselves known. I am working on that. So thank you very much for that explanation.
And Cortisha, I ask my mentees if they go to a scientific meeting, especially young women, because women are arrogant. We think we know everything and we talk all the time. See me. And so when you go to a meeting, you see the professor giving a conference, a lecture, etc. And then, are there any questions? Then somebody raises his hand. It's usually a man in 40s or the 50s. He already knows the answer. Or he wants to make a comment to show everybody how much he knows. And show that, everybody, and even the speaker, that he's an expert in that area. Okay, young women, but I tell them, it's very difficult to ask a question. Your heart is beating like that. And you don't dare. Say, you write the question. And then you get into the queue that are going to ask the question. And you ask any question. It doesn't matter what you ask. You say, oh, I love your presentation, etc. Very interesting. Now I have a question. Could you elaborate, or could you say any question? Then if you meet that professor in the hallway, in the hall after the conference, say your name. Oh, I am so-and-so, I'm Cortisha Charles, and I'm from the Caribbean, etc., etc. So that people can hear who you are, can see you, and say, oh, this young woman, she's the one who answered that question, who asked that question. So you have a better chance when you meet the professor. Oh, yeah, you are the one who asked that question. No? So that's what I mean by getting people to know you, be visible, be memorable. And that is really, really important, because then people may even invite you to join their organization or to continue the communication with them. Okay, are there any other questions? Because, Geraldine, you are at the Tokyo Medical and Dental University in Tokyo. Okay, we had a previous mentee, former mentee from Myanmar who is working there. Okay, maybe a question into the skills that are important to get in order to increase one's chance in working in an international organization. Okay.
Could I take a stab at that? Because I think it's a question of, what is your passion? When you're looking for work, what is it you want to do? And understanding the organization that you're applying to. So if you're applying to WHO, there's lots of different programs. Why that program? What is it about that program that interests you? You need to be clear on that, which means you've done your homework. You read up on the program, or you read up on the unit. You're looking at, are you looking for a global position? Are you looking for a position in a country office? Because how you do it is different. Even though most of the UN agencies have a global department, one of the things, for example, in UNICEF, if I know I'm interested in Benin, I will write the country office and ask them, or I'll look on their website to see what they have to offer, right? Because I know I'm interested in one particular location as opposed to trying to work in New York or trying to work at a regional office. And it's trying to understand, if you're thinking UN, remember that most UN agencies have your global headquarters, they have regional offices, and then they have country offices. In organizations like UNICEF, they're very independent of each other. So you could apply globally and you might not be the one that's even being looked at for a country office that interests you. So you want to do a homework and understand, are you interested in resource mobilization? Are you interested in communications? Because what needs to be there might be different. And once you've done that homework, now you have to look at your resume. How does it read? Does it read like one? If I've got 100 other people, I'm going to pick it up and say, oh, this is quite interesting. So Ellie's point about what's being asked of you is very, very critical. What's the minimum you have to have? That's what HR looks at. And then they do what is called the short list. HR just gets rid of people that didn't follow instructions. And then it goes to the technical people to look at whether or not they're going to pursue further. And that's where not only do you write up in your resume what you did, what's the result? Everybody's busy. Everybody's busy, but what's the result of what you did? That's what they're going to want to know from you. Not just did you go to this meeting and that many meetings, so what? What's the result? And the more you can put your resume with that kind of information in it, the more likely somebody's to look at it closer. Clearly that cover letter is what's going to say why this organization and why should you look at me? Why me as opposed to anybody else? That's what the cover letter does. But the resume is going to, when you're reading those, they're asking for 5 years of this or that and other, your resume should reflect some of those things. And I suggest that everybody have more than one resume. You shouldn't just have a standard one you send out to everybody, because you're going to tailor it to what you're applying to.
Thank you. We have only about 10, 12 minutes, or if you indulge me, we can continue this dialogue. I wanted to re-emphasize before I give the microphone to Ellie. You wanted to say something, huh? Before I give you the microphone, let me show you something else. This is where we are: questions, answers, comments, suggestions. Okay, let me go to what people are telling you right now. What you need to do to get a job. Resume, which is the promotion. The cover letter, which are the solid arguments that are supporting your resume. And then if you are lucky, you get an interview. And in each one of these, we have some tips to give you. Read the blogs that I sent you, because there it talks about what you need to do. The first step before the resume is, as the mentors have said, you need to do your research. Your research. But first you need to know what is what you want. What is what you want? Anaili, in addition to being the program officer, she is also my mentee. And before she tells you anything, I'm going to tell you that she was successful in getting into an academic program. So, Anaili, well, before I give you the microphone, let me continue. I'm sorry. Search and research. is really, really important. What is your focus? Before you do anything else, then you write your resume, which has to be tailored to the organization or to what you want to do. If you apply to a department of biochemistry or whatever, well, your resume has to reflect that. No, yeah, it's because I would like to change it, etc. No, boom. Your cover letter, the arguments of why you want that. And it's really important in your cover letter, not only to say that you need that job, but what you are going to add, your value to that organization, your enthusiasm and whatever is okay. But say, I'm unique because I'm going to give this to the organization. And well, and then we have some ideas about interview and how you get your job. And if you accept or reject that offer, because price, it comes also with a C, price. What is the salary they're going to give? Try to reach the highest level of salary, because that's the baseline for your future salaries. So don't think that they are giving you, you know, you are so happy, but then you need to negotiate what they can give you, unless they have a standard, you know, standard for everybody at your level, and that's it. Then you ask also about skills. You're going to be hired, as Herman has said, not only something that you want, your passion, but because you know that business, your technical work. Now, as a chief of a program or as anybody working in any complex organization, you have to develop your skills, interpersonal skills, because there's always conflict. And sometimes you are the conflicted person and you don't know that. So you have to recognize that. Writing, if I had known that 60% of my job or more was going to be reading and writing, not only the everyday, but you have to write reports and you have to review reports and scientific articles, etc. Oral communication. And by this, I mean sometimes you have to get your ideas through in public or in a group. And then the art of persuasion. How do you convince people that what you are saying is worthy of listening to or doing, etc. There are many other things. And then let me warn you, don't ever tell me, don't ever say to me, soft skills. Please do not do that. There are no soft skills. There are general skills that you should have to make things work, and there are your specific skills. It's like when I was at CDC, they used, oh, we're from the hard sciences. I'm a mathematician or statistician or an epidemiologist. What about the administrators? What about somebody else, your secretary, etc.? They are professional people too. Okay, but that's beyond the point. So another question. You're always worried, or you may be worried. Goat, cubs, what are you doing, rat? Can't sleep. I'm just worried about the same things over and over and over. That's silly, rat. 90% of our worries never even come true. Is that really the case? Yep. So keep that in mind whenever you get like this. Okay, 10% of my worries come true, 10% of my worries come true, 10, etc. So you have to be careful because you are going to face difficulties sometimes. I didn't sleep. I stopped sleeping well after I joined the program, because so many people were dying and we didn't know what to do. It was a death sentence. And I was seeing people die in the different countries and visit the hospitals, etc. And it was horrible. And I felt so bad because of that. That's the reminder 5. And what you must know, there are no pathway or career mistakes that you cannot correct when you're younger than 50, which you are. And then, as Irma said, your passion, connect your brain with your heart, or vice versa, when you are choosing and developing your career. And this is really what I would like to emphasize, because many of you may feel like imposters. How come I am not going to do it? Do you have many regrets? No. Pig says, at most just one. What's the one? How I've lived my entire life. If you could just change that, there'd be no stopping me. So I don't want you at age 80 to look back and say, oh, this is not the life that I wanted to live. It would be too late, I think. And few pieces of advice. You are intellectual workers. Work with your intellect. If you don't know something, try to find out. Curiosity. I don't like that outside the box. You can build a new and better box. Be creative. Imagine. What you say and do is your true business card. You give a card and that's okay. No, no. If they know you, they know your potential, you know what you do. The results, they are so important of a previous job. That's what they want to know. Again, it is not the important people you know. It is the important people who know you. And please, 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 this is again, especially for our young women, because you are more modest than men. Don't you ever think that you are not unique, indispensable, and extraordinary. Please, please never think. Go in front of a mirror and give yourself a kiss, because this is so important. And in the comments that we get from our mentees at the end of the year, many of the young women, none of the men, say that their self-confidence increased because they had an empathetic mentor who helped them go through that. And take your power to work every day. They are not powerless people. You are not powerless. Take that power, your inner power and your experience and your working capacity every day. Okay, so does anybody want to make a comment? I spoke too much, but I had to ask you a question and a favor. Oh, no, that's artificial science. No, this is not it. What do you want for future webinars? We can have different approaches. One could be a scientific discussion. For example, the artificial intelligence webinar that we were going to have and didn't happen was a scientific discussion. Can have a technical review where somebody has an article or has a book, or even watch a video together. Personal growth session that you can have a problem that you want to share with some of your peers and more than the one mentor that you have. Other which could be a clinic of professional development. And this I'm particularly interested in your ideas, a think tank forward. And this is also one of my pet projects, but I have not been able to fulfill, arts and philosophy salon, because we have very creative and very talented people in the program. Musicians, poets, composers, engineers in different areas, lawyers in human rights, world champion national champion on judo, another one on in karate, the head of the Olympic program and volleyball program from one country in Africa, etc. They are very talented. So we want also for your other peers know another side of you, not only the professional or the academic, but also Ellie Bertha. I didn't know that. She makes beautiful pottery. I didn't know that until now, and I have known her for at least, I don't know, 6, 7 years or more. So, and about this are your decisions. I'm going to ask the mentees to please tell us the type. If the time of 1 hour is okay, the timing, the frequency, and the format, because we can have round tables, panels, we can have group discussions, etc., etc. If you don't have time or you don't want to talk now, you can write to us. But just, I would like to take a show of hands, maybe. Scientific discussion? Nobody. Help me, Anaili.
Yeah, are they supposed to say something, to raise their hand, or just write in the chat? I don't know, like type of webinar that you want. Will be easier like that because I can see all of them in the camera.
Okay. Okay. No, okay.
So Ellie just sent a heart, so I think she means that she likes the scientific discussion.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, because I was thinking of having maybe 3 or 4 scientific presentations a year. Technical reviews, you can even do that with your mentor or with several mentors and mentees. Personal growth session would be something more private, but something that you present a problem and the other people can say, oh, I have the similar issues. Thank you for doing that. Professional development. There we can have a panel of mentors and former mentees, and they can tell you about their experience. And the think tank forum, everything is an open mic. What you want to share with us, we have so much talent and knowledge and experience that I really, really would like for other people to listen to you. And please don't be shy. Next time, I want the young people to talk instead of me talking, okay? And also mentors, I apologize because I didn't let you talk, say what you wanted to say. But if there are any final comments, 2 or 3 by anybody?
Just very quickly, Fernando, is it possible maybe one of the topics could be women in development and humanitarian settings to kind of explore, because it's different if you're working in an emergency versus what's happening when you're just doing regular development work. So maybe we could have a time to talk about and pick up that gender dimension again.
Irma, we can help you organize that, and we have a date, September 12th. Do you think it can be done, or could be done in October? Depends on you. I agree 100%. Actually, we want to do the gender transformative approach into the program. 70% or more of our mentees are women. So this is really, really something that we need to do, indispensable. So it will be great, and we'll refer people to Women in Global Health, because it's about time. It's about time. And I was telling Ellie the other day that for 70 years I was totally biased. I'm a man. And then the last 10 years, I realized, sorry, men, women are better than men. At least in what we are doing here, women are better than men. Of the mentees that we reject, the prospective mentees, 90% are men. And the women, they write their resumes, their whatever, they fill out the application, etc., and they perform much better, much better. So the world is going to be in the hands of women, and we better find out a way to accelerate that process that has been really, really fast, but not fast enough since the 60s. Okay, so what do you say, Herman? We can discuss that, but the idea is wonderful.
For me, October, I have a mission in September on that date, so I'm not available, but October would be great.
Okay, we can discuss about the thing. So
Okay.
we have already one of the sessions, and then we can have a professional development clinic. I will invite the mentors and as many mentees and can participate. And then we can talk specifically about how to prepare your resume, how to do your research, etc., to complement what you do with your mentor, or just to have different or additional opinions and experience shared with you. And my dream is the think tank forum and the salon, but I will do that next year. I will do that. For the rest of the year, I think we can go to the, and I was thinking if we could have sessions every 2 weeks, different ones, the scientific discussion every 2 months, for example. And the other ones, I will be available, even if nobody comes. I'll talk to Anaili or to whoever comes. Anaili, I forgot. Tell them what has happened, what is going to happen with your life. Please.
Well, just to summarize, I am going to Spain in 1 month, so I'm very excited. That's supposed to be it. Thank you.
No. She's been accepted an inter-university program on youth and society. 5 universities in the area of Catalonia, Barcelona, Lleida, Girona, 2 other universities in Barcelona, and she's going to go there. She had already been accepted at American University and George Washington University, but what they need, what they ask in money is obscene. It's obscene. Even if they gave half a scholarship, it's obscene. You cannot get $80,000, and then you want to show that you have access to $80,000 or $70,000. Some of my mentees have gotten full scholarships in some universities. So do not limit yourself. Shoot for the stars, because you don't know how good you are, or you don't accept the fact that you are very good. Please accept that and shoot for the stars, and have some other that, okay, if I don't get the stars, I go here. And so that's my last message. That's my last message. Thank you, everybody. And we are going to program another session in September. But I'm also going to think of being available every 2 weeks or 1 day. Is this time convenient for you, or would you like to change the time? Because for some of you it's 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 3 p.m. So is somebody please put in the chat if you would prefer another time with your time zone. Fortunately, we have only 2 people in Japan, South Korea, and Sydney, Australia, which they are with us tomorrow, not today. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Geraldine, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt, Geraldine. I thought she thinks she said something.
Who?
Geraldine.
Okay, please.
Oh, yeah, yes. I was just saying that the time it's okay for me because it's generally around I think 11 p.m. So it's fine. When I'm not too tired, I can join the session. So it's fine for me. And I also wanted to thank the mentors for their advices. I think I will look at that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Geraldine. Thank you. Okay, so we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.